get the vibe that you're distant. There's something about you that's different. I see it in your eyes. Something isn't right. Tell me again what I'm missing. 'Cause you're fading out. We've been here before. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. Don't go through that door. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. It is a lie when you tell me that nothing is wrong, just leave it be. But I see it in your eyes. Something isn't right. Tell me again what I'm missing. 'Cause you're fading out. We've been here before. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. Don't go through that door. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. I will make it right. I will make it right. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll. 'Cause you're fading out. We've been here before. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. Don't go through that door. Tell me again, just tell me again, and I'll make it right. Tell me again. Tell me again.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Rodney, happy Tuesday to you. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, you're a little pixelated. We've got a little slow internet happening today. Oh boy, what are we going to do about that?
Here, just hang on. Let me log. You want me to log back in here? See if it's me?
Well, I know that if you can, yeah, that'd be fine if you'll just do that. Hang with a second here, Wyatt. That happens sometimes. He's got a landline that's not as fast as it could be, so we'll get it fixed up here. Utah, that's got to be nice. That's good living. I'm a Colorado guy. And man, I kind of miss the mountains, I got to tell you. And I'll bet you Utah is just gorgeous. I just bet that's gorgeous out there. Bryce Canyon and all that kind of stuff. Oh man, I bet it's good. Just waiting. Come on, Rodney. Come on back. Sorry for the tough start there, buddy. There we go. There you go.
How we doing?
Oh man, that's a lot better. I don't know what you did, but it's magic. It's magic.
I don't know what it.
Yeah, we'll just deal with it. We'll just have to push through. It's going to pixelate stuff. It'll take a minute for it to level up. So what's new? Did you do anything fun this weekend, this holiday weekend?
Yeah, me and my youngest son went to where'd we go? It was somewhere in Mississippi. It was to play in a SNEDS event. He plays junior golf, so we was up there and got to hang out in the cabin for a few days, and he got to hang out with his golfing buddies. So it was pretty cool weekend. Then got to spend the day at home. Yes, actually spent a day with a serviceman yesterday from Fort Campbell. Been 20 years in the military, and did some Fallujah stuff and all kinds of kind of good spending the day with him on Memorial Day. So we do a fun the folks at Fort Campbell.
Oh, good. And I want to welcome Wyatt and Phil and Wendy and Ange. Welcome you guys. Glad you're here. We're pixelating a little bit. Got a little bit of an internet thing. It's that's what happens with live. So if Rodney pauses, that's what's going on. Just so that you'll know, my name is Andy Elliott. I'm a realtor here in Williamson County, Tennessee. That's just south of Nashville. And Rodney is with First Trust. He's a mortgage lender, also in Williamson County. The whole goal of this program really is just to share information that we've learned through news and through personal experience. We're not here to try to sell anybody on anything. We're just sharing some thoughts and ideas. And if you have questions, all our contact information is in the description box below, and or it will be after the show. So if you've got questions, we'd love to chat with you. So just want to get that out of the way. And so one of the things that we always start with, and this is going to be exciting. Today it's going to be Rodneys Wait.
That's right.
It's going to be a tough day. I can tell. That's right. Rodneys
All right,
Wait.
here we are. Hopefully it's not doing too bad, but
We need to get that screen. We need you to share that screen, buddy.
My bad. Let me see here.
Don't forget to deselect.
Yeah, I was actually looking at the screen. I just forgot it wasn't being shared. All right, let's see here.
Deselect.
I need my technical advisor over here, Andy Elliott, to do this.
Make sure you deselect tab share.
Yeah, gotcha.
There we go. Thank you. Bink.
Well, as you can see here, today's a good day. We're up 50 basis points. That's a lot for a day's movement. A lot of times we come on here and there's only 1 or 2 bips that we see moving, maybe 10, 15. But today, I think we're regaining some ground from where we had all that stuff with the debt ceiling and the banks raising capital by selling mortgage-backed securities. As you can see, we've been taking a beating for, since May 12th. It's really been hitting us hard. But as predicted, we get any good news, we think we're on the uptrend now, and starting to see that a lot today. So hopefully that trend continues with that. So,
well, and that falls right into line with the agreements that, well, so far, the tentative agreements between the White House and McCarthy, right?
Well, it's yes. I mean, I think they were. I think we said last week that any good news that we get at all will start helping our rates, because in my opinion they're being held down by other factors, not necessarily what the market's dictating for these rates, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense. And we've got a new visitor here. His name is Wyatt. He happens to be from Utah. He's also a real estate professional out there, and he says things have definitely slowed down somewhat out there in Utah. So, you know what, we're not alone. You know, we're in things have changed dramatically for us too, and we're in Williamson County, which it's sort of a, I don't know, would you call it a safe haven? I don't know, that'd be a little risky. But Williamson County is kind of a special place, I like to think, and but it really has slowed down quite a little bit. So, and so what we try to do on this show is we're just, and this might be a kind of a quick one today because yesterday was a holiday and I didn't study like I should. Bad, Andy, bad.
We'll forgive you.
Okay. But there was a couple of things that caught my attention. And one of them was about mortgage delinquency rates bouncing back up in April. And I've actually got a couple of other slides on that as well. Rodney, let me look at this.
Well, one thing I seen about this, it was the early stage. You know, the article again is a pretty good mortgage delinquency rate bounced up in April, right? Now they track it in a couple different ways, but what I thought was very interesting about the article, this is defined as borrowers who are 30 days late.
Correct.
They were up by 200,000 or 25% between March and April, which is a lot in my opinion. However, this level of serious delinquency, defined as 90 or more past days, was lower in 45 states and District of Columbia, while foreclosures starts dropped by 23%. So again, it's like, you know, I mean, obviously it's concerning, but it's weird how the early stages are going like that and the later stages of the process are declining.
Yeah. And I have to believe that part of what makes, and you tell me, you check me on this, Rodney, part of what diminishes or minimizes the foreclosure risk in this country is the amount of equity that people have. If you have plenty of equity, you can sell and recover and do just fine. You know, foreclosure is when you can't pay your mortgage and you don't have enough equity to be able to get out of the thing, you know. And so with equity have grown so much in the last couple of years, doesn't that put people in quite a safe place?
I think so, especially, yes.
I think I said that right. I think I
said
that.
Just the foreclosures are going to be less, even though they get behind and foreclosures proceedings start, because as soon as foreclosure proceedings start on I would say the majority of homes in America, they could just go and sell it and pay the debt off, right? That's what I'm thinking. Now it's kind of interesting that it kind of makes sense that just after, we talked about a while back, we talked about that article where the tax refunds kind of kept mortgage delinquencies and credit card delinquencies in check there for a bit. And see if so that may be helping our long-term things right now, but I think you're right. I think there's just so much equity that people end up selling.
There you go. Right. And so since you're kind of my interpreter, what is Philip saying here?
He's saying, it's it's kind of, we got some conflicting data. Early increasing late payments, but the decreasing, there's not the actual foreclosures are decreasing. So he's saying, you're right. Let's let's check this stat again in July and see what the metrics are then.
Yeah, and I have to agree that long term is when the truth is going to come out. That's when the truth is going to come out, because there's but it's going to be interesting for the people that have bought homes in the last couple of years that are running close to the bone anyway.
Right.
And with the economy like it is, I think maybe that's what Phil, is that what you're saying? That that might change things.
Yeah, those,
because those are running
so
close to home.
It just to me, it's just so few of them that was bought over the last couple of years. It's like you have just had to buy in the last, if you bought in the last year, that's about the max of, in my opinion, of where you're subject to, kind of some negative amortization, and not negative, declining house values, I should say.
Yeah, right. And so that's going to be on the risk on that.
Right.
I'll show you something. There's we're going to do a share screen. I know Angie hates this. But here's what the foreclosures, just to put a pin in this, to put a bow on it and to move on to the next topic. This is what has happened. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I like that. U.S. the filings that during those unicorn years, they were down to nothing, and now they're starting to grow again. So that is going to be that's significant. That's a significant number of increase right there. I don't know what we're going to do with that. You there?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see some foreclosures on the market. I'd love to see anything on the market. I mean,
Speaking of that,
we can't even find nothing. I got too many people right now looking that can't find something. So,
which brings us to the next topic. There was an article that was about a couple who, and this was quite the story. And basically, it's this: high school sweetheart with good jobs, a baby on the way, and $600,000 budget, can't find a house after 2 years of hunting. It's just so demoralizing, depressing, and defeating. And the reason that I brought this, did you have any particular thoughts about that article, Rodney?
Yeah, I did. Do you want me to share them?
I'm ready. Are we gonna fight? Okay.
I'm saying that honestly, these people need to fire that person and hire you or Wyatt, right? I mean, but I don't know the New Jersey market, but 600,000 seems a lot. Seems like it's they don't have anything to sell. They got a big down payment. I couldn't imagine that New Jersey market's worse than our market, and I think they could find something here. You prove my point. You just closed. We just had a mutual client. You closed in the same price range, saved them 60-something thousand or whatever. I mean, yeah. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, this is a little too late.
So I'm going to read this little snippet from the article, and just so that people have an idea what's going on. This is this couple that had difficulty buying a house. So that's the setup. In the 2 years that they've been house hunting, they put down countless offers, raised their budget substantially, compromised on location from central to north to South Jersey. I don't know what that means. I know what the directions mean, but I don't know what it means in practical terms. When they first started looking, their budget was $500. That quickly changed after seeing total disasters listed in that range. Hughes recalled Hopewell House listed at $510 that looked like someone just hit command minimize and just shrunk it. I have no idea what that means, but I'm sure it's a game of some kind. His real estate agent at the time told him they should offer $560 if they liked it, because there's 4 offers already. After a few more dispiriting home or open houses, they decided to push the budget to 550 and look at other towns. After years of searching and pushing their budget close to 600, they still haven't closed on a home. Here's, and I'm not laughing. I always seem to apologize about this. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm familiar with this, and I'll bet you why it is too. You can get, sometimes people get such tunnel vision that it has to be the perfect house or we're not getting it. They have this idea, and I don't know where it comes from, that the perfect house exists. And I don't know that that's ever happened. It's come close, but it's always, there's a compromise involved at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have somebody, I have a limit for when I'm showing people houses. We'll go through a little brainstorming session when I first talk to people. We'll interview a little bit, and I'll say, what is your budget? What is the top line? Have you talked to your lender about what it should be versus what it could be? Because there's a difference there. We don't want to stretching the limit isn't necessary. We find out what how much they can handle price-wise, and we can find out what their family flow is. You show me just a couple, and I'll show you some people that can get away with 3 bedrooms easy, 2 bedrooms maybe if it's a condo. But you show me a couple with 2 kids, 3 bedrooms are all of a sudden a little tougher because if there's a bonus room or not. Anyway, so you go through all of this permutations of what people are really looking for. And then you ask them the question, what are the things that you'd like to have, but what are the things that you have to have? What you have to have these things. And once you have a list down on what that is, when you start looking at properties, either that's going to appear or not. Because once you put your criteria in, what I have discovered is the MLS, the system, the filters work really, really well. If you put in, let's say that in a neighborhood, you put your criteria in, we're going to say $600,000, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, got to have a bonus room, and in a particular city location like that. If you put in a search criteria and one comes up, you're in the wrong place. You got to move to another town, move to something. If 4 or 5 or 6 homes comes up, you're in a better position to where you can look for houses. Because the bottom line is, if you're in a circumstance, and here's what I'm trying to say. A lot of words. Here's what I'm trying to say. For somebody that's been looking for 2 years for a house, they're either looking in the wrong place or the wrong price range, period. And that has never failed me, and after we've looked at 5 or 6 or maximum 10 homes, if nothing comes close, we got to have a conversation about what is it that you could live without.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they're looking for a house shaped like an egg. I mean, it's going to be difficult, right? I mean, but yeah, I mean, it just seems like, this, but now, at the bottom of this thing, it says their initial strategy was to wait for prices to drop. Okay. If that's your if that's been your strategy over the last couple of years, they wrote an article about you, right? So that's what's happened. It's just a bad strategy.
It is a bad strategy, and I think that it sends, of course, what do I care, and who cares what I think? But they're trying to make a point that there's no houses. That's not true. That's just not true. There's no houses for them because they're asking for a Lamborghini in a Ford dealership. They're asking.
Something in a crazy area, or trying to buy this, like if we were trying to buy this in, say, Belmead area or something like that, right? Something that just doesn't exist. But yeah, I think with It's just hard to see for that in my market. I think, over the last year, you could have found something. There's been a lot less competition. Um,
That's true, and I think that for the point is, and Rodney, you said it right up to the top. I think there's a chance. I won't say definitively, but I think there's a chance they're getting bad information, bad counsel, because even for those folks, you go to New Jersey. I should go on Zillow and do this for myself and send it to them. But if we go to Zillow and look for something that's got 20 or 30 days on the market that might work for them, they're looking at houses that are newly listed. And that's where that frustration, because they're trying to beat the clock and they put themselves in a situation where they're in a race to win. And if it's brand new, everybody likes brand new. Everybody does. And then I think that's either they don't, or they're being led down a path that doesn't have any vision, Ange. That's what I think. That you're right. I'm trying to be generous because I don't know their situation. Obviously I don't.
Yeah.
But it does come clear that what they're looking for ain't out there. I mean, there's your answer.
Yeah, your strategy. I mean, you're exactly
Strategy.
right. I mean, it's
the strategy isn't working. But there's a couple of comments. I don't know if you're able to see it. There was in this particular article. I love these things. I'm going to show this. Hey, hang on. Whoops. There we go. Make sure this is right. Yes, good. There's comments on this particular article, and I wanted to mention. It said, even the commenters had it. They said, and then we'll get off this topic. They don't want a house. They want the perfect house. Their expectations are not realistic. They want the best neighborhoods and the best schools for Trenton. Okay, this person clearly, there you go.
Yeah, lives there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because if somebody was doing that down here in Williamson County or even in Nashville, I'd be able to tell you right off the cuff what the problem is. Yeah, and it says here that somebody else, you don't get your dream home the first time. It sounds like we're beating them up. My point is they're getting bad advice. That's all that is. That's all that is.
Yeah, it's I agree. I'm not beating them up, but it's it's kind of unrealistic what they're experiencing.
Yeah.
Now, if he'd have said that 2 years, a year and a half ago, I'd have went with him, right? But not over most of this time over the last 2 years have been you could buy a house.
Right. And so moving on to the next topic that I had kind of teed up for us, teed up in your terminology. It's going to be, and maybe you've heard about this, Rodney. Real estate agents are leaving in droves across the country. The National Association of Realtors ran some numbers, and it looks like 60,000 real estate agents. There's a difference between real estate agent and realtor, but 60,000 real estate agents have left the profession in the past 6 months as the housing market cools off. Have you heard? They're doing my lawn. That's that noise you hear. Have you heard about that happening locally, Rodney?
We've done it since, I guess, right before the year of 2000, and this kind of always happens. There are realtors that like you that are in it from day one to day a million. And then there's some that get out, get in and get out through these times. So I'm not surprised that people are leaving. I'm actually surprised that it's happening now when I feel like we're getting closer to the end of our tougher time. But, I know people. But if you look at the numbers, because it sounds a lot like 60,000 people left, but it went from 1.53 down from 1.6 million. So we're not going to. I don't think we're going to run out of real estate agents anytime soon. But that's a lot. But I think this boom probably added several 100,000, 100,000 or two to to this already to a number that was, and people do that, right? And people, when the real estate market's hot, there's a lot of people get into real estate, to try to make some quick money.
And from the outside, and I'm sure that Wyatt can attest to this, that from the outside it looks like, that selling houses is just the easiest thing in the world, and it's until you get in there and you face the music, you find out that it's not at all what it looks like. But people, they listen. There's a lot of money being made in there, But it's motivating for people because the barrier for entry is pretty low, $300, $400, $500, and you find a broker that'll take you on and somebody that'll train you. And there's no shortage of brokers that are. Can you fill me in on what that means? Why? That there's any number of brokers that are willing to take people, new blood on and train them. Yeah. And I'm looking at a question here from Wyatt. Is that complete opposite of what it was? Is that what you mean, I wonder? Now would be a good time to get into real estate agent. Quieter time to learn the ropes. Right. Got it. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. $50 an hour if it takes you 2 years.
Hey, I'll tell you a quick story though. I went through, I got in 2005. And so my introduction into the real estate business was a slow decline, the spiral of death to 2008. And so I learned on the first crash.
I didn't know you got in 2005. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny. But I was lucky enough to have, oh, right. Yes. Yeah, it is the complete opposite. Thank you, Wyatt, for filling me in on that. But from 2005, 2008, I saw things falling apart. Well, I was lucky enough to have, I was paying for coaching. And, I'm the kind of person, I don't know anything until I know something. And so when I got in the real estate business, I hired a coach that was selling thousands of homes a year. Why not learn from him? His name's Craig Proctor, still in the business, this guy. So when the foreclosure business started, when there really were a lot of foreclosures, we're not making light of it. We're not bringing the topic up again, except to say, when foreclosures became more prevalent, the people that had money became very interested in foreclosures because the people that had money saw an opportunity with these foreclosures coming on the market, and they were correct. And so what he taught us to do was we would provide list of foreclosures. That was the draw to get people to call us, and it really worked. I mean, it really worked. But there were times when I took a listing and I took $0 on the listing side as long as I could get paid on the buy side. I would take a listing for free if they would contract with me to do the purchase. And for a number of years, that's how it was, because there was no money. Because I remember going to listings for a couple of years there, if not longer. The news that I would be bringing them was how much they're going to have to bring to the table to close.
Right.
How much are we going to make? Well, you're going to bring $20,000 to sell. And I'm telling you, that really did happen, that's people made selling decisions based on how much money they had in the bank to get rid of the thing. That being said, who's paying a listing agent if you're losing money, right? So the way we did is we would contract to do the buy side. Man, how did I end up down on that road?
It's just a different market,
But I had some of my biggest months ever because that was a pretty popular program.
Yeah.
The sellers were going, what, 0? Yeah. I think I had my first $60,000 month that in the business that time was that. Golly. And you know how we have we talk about leading and lagging indicators, Rodney. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when we're talking about the housing market, like pendings is going to be, you know, that's a leading indicator, right? There was something else that Wyatt said I thought was interesting. Don't let me lose this, Rodney.
Angie had a good question there.
Would it be a good time to get his? Um, Here's the deal. Selling houses is not about the house. Selling houses is about the people you're working with. It's about relationships. I mean, it's the knowledge on how you sell the houses. It's true. And there's tricks to the trade, like how do you get closing costs when nobody else seems to do that? Or per our argument before, the article before, how do you find a house when somebody can't find one? Is there a trick to it? Yeah, there is. There is. And that's really what selling a house, that's what selling a house is. The contract part of it isn't all that tough. It can be. It can be. But if somebody wants to become an agent, my advice is have a year's worth of living expenses in your bank account and don't expect to make anything for 6 months. Nothing. And find somebody that will train you how to do it correctly. Find the biggest, baddest real estate agent in your area and work for them for free and learn how to do that. So but in terms of, will it be quieter and less competition? No. What's going to happen? It's going to get noisier than ever because the people that are in the business now and finding out that there's more to it than putting a sign in the yard to sell a house, which is the way it was the last 18 months. Just put a cardboard sign out there, and before it rains and folds up and wastes away on the thing, the house is sold. That's not the way it is now. It's not. And so people are finding out you have to sell. And that was the thing that happened. That was the thing that happened for me from 2005 and through to 2011, 2012. I had to learn to sell because that was the environment. And if I was going to make a living at it, that's what I had to do. And damn, I got to be honest, I got pretty good at that. I did. But one of the things that I got good at was being aggressive without being disagreeable. You can do that. You have to be aggressive without being stupid about it, and some of these young folks that are just getting in, bless their hearts, they got, you got to have to get those calluses,
That's great advice. I was waiting for you to answer that. I was wanting to see how you answered. I was curious because I think real estate and actually mortgage, either one, are one of the only few industries that you can get into and make make millions without investing. You can go and earn in mortgage, you go in real estate. Like if you've done what Andy's talking about, you go in, it's a job now. Real estate, just because you're going to get in it. I mean, it's a job like any of the other. You're going to have to learn it. You're going to have to do it. The thing about real estate is that you have to be a self-starter and do it on your own. Because even if you do get good training, it's not like you're going to go to a 9-to-5 job and somebody's going to be sitting there every day. It's a difficult job to learn and to get off the ground. But if you can do that and you have a good mentor that can lead you down that path, it's one of the few businesses on earth that you can go in and make millions without a huge investment.
Yeah, and it is. And did you see this comment from Wyatt? He said recently a seller didn't disclose how far behind they were in the mortgage the day before closing. We got notice that it had to go to short sale. That's That's
Wow.
we used to. I
Well, I,
used to.
I don't know what that means. Did that mean they got it for cheaper since it went for short
Yeah.
sale? I mean, who knows? Or it had to go for short sale just to sell it for what it was. Who knows? That's wild.
Well, but then with a once you get into that short sale wormhole, then the bank all of a sudden has control and they can say
Yeah,
no. You
right.
know, that's where that's like, no, never mind.
Yeah,
We decided we don't like your offer. What?
yeah.
We're all
They're not
packed up
far
in the
enough behind. Yeah,
we're all packed up in the driveway. Ah, that was oh yeah. The when you're talking about real estate, I won't go on, but it's kind of an interesting thing. Um, in by 2010, I had gotten much better at marketing in real estate, and that's that listening to a coach and doing what he's yeah. 2 years ago, there's that the bookends. Can you see that comment?
yeah,
Yeah, that 2 years. That's that time frame we were just talking about a minute ago. But we were talking about being able to market with foreclosures and a list of foreclosures and stuff like that. It came to the point where I wanted to do better with listings. And so what I did was I left a brokerage where I was getting a super high commission rate. And I found somebody who was doing, it happens to be Terry, that he was selling 900 homes a year. And so we got to talking, and he said that he'd hire me. It's not exactly the way we do it here, but he would let me come on under his shingle. But the split was not. I took a hit on the split to go with Terry, and the whole purpose was I sat down with him, and this is just we're talking to the idea of being a real estate agent. I took a 20% cut on every house that I sold to be able to learn what it is that Terry knew. And I
yeah,
did that for years. And that was, and I was on the fence about that. And I remember how I'll always be grateful. My second wife still is a good woman, that's over, but she's still a good woman. She gave good advice. I was kind of worried about this cut. And she says, if you can learn what he knows, take the cut, take the cut, and then you can leave and do what he does. And I was like,
yeah,
pretty smart,
yeah.
She's,
It's yeah, work. Yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm a big fan of Terry DeSelms as well, and that's he was kind of like the founder, one of the founders of the huge agent in our area. As far as one of the first people who really did that.
yeah,
Become the lead. The lead person. Like it was pretty cool.
selling 900 houses a year. And he's the guy where I learned the idea that you can be aggressive without being disagreeable,
Yeah,
and what he used to say was for real estate agents, shy real estate agents have skinny kids, is the way he would say it.
there you go. That's a good one. Yeah,
So just that, so I think, so the leading indicator that I'm kind of talking about, and we'll let this topic go, is I'm kind of not huge, but I kind of like Reddit. And Reddit is, it's an unrestrained platform where people just talk their brains out, they just do. And one of the things that's happening in Reddit, Wyatt, that's a conversation we need to have. He did it with a team of 6 people, believe it or not. We were closing 3 homes a day up in his office. It's just a team of 6 people. The leading indicator in Reddit. What's happening now is lots and lots of real estate agents across the country are starting to ask what side hustles are working for people that are still in real estate. I mean, it's happening a lot. And so if that bears out, with a lot of people asking those questions, that's just a leading indicator. Those people are on the verge of.
yeah.
not
Yeah,
making
stinks. I hate it. It's our business is so cyclical like that. It kind of weeds the the bottom half or the bottom 10th 20% out every time it does this. So
it. Yeah. Well, what's the 80-20 rule? It's probably worse than that in real estate,
yeah,
but anyway,
20% of them do 80% of the business.
yeah, that's exactly right. There was an article here in Keeping Current Matters, Rodney, that I think that you'd be able to relate to, and I don't even know that I'm going to send this to you.
I'm on that site. Which one are you talking about?
The benefits of selling now, according to the experts,
Okay.
they they had a good point because we were kind of arguing back and forth about when is it a good time to sell? Is this a good time to sell? What's the deal? And I think that if you read through this article, with inventory being as low as it is, if you're a home seller, you've got a better chance of recovering more money than what happens once the inventory starts to swell up again.
Yeah, I mean, well-priced, move-in ready homes with curb appeal in desirable areas are still receiving multiple offers and selling for over the asking price in many parts.
Now, what have we been
I mean,
saying 2 months
I
in a
mean,
row?
is that yeah? That's like a broken record. It really is. I mean, it's you get a good property, it's gone. I mean, we see it all the time. Inventory levels are still low, so yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I think it'd be a good time to sell. I mean, I know they're down. What is it? Just a percent or two from trough feed to trough or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
But
Peak to
if
trough.
yours, yeah, if yours is in the upper echelon, if the house looks good and the curb appeal and all that, it's going to go.
Yeah. Yes. I did. Did Philip and Wendy see that comment from our friend from the left coast, west coast?
Hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, we are. Anyway, so we just had. I guess we could finish it off this. Ooh. It's the impact of changing mortgage rates. We were like, I'm going to stay off of that. Oh man, let's finish this thing up with. Here's what I'm not trying to sell anything, folks. I'm just the idea of does a home buyer need help sometimes? It sounds like I'm plying or hiring an agent. And I'm not really. I'm not trying to sell anybody on anything. But if we were to have a conversation about these guys, then I would say there might be wisdom in talking to somebody that's been around the block to help you complete a transaction. That's my whole point.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think you tippy toe on that one a little bit, but anytime I can tell you as a mortgage professional, anytime that I do a loan that a real estate professional is not involved, it's a nightmare. It's awful. Buyers and sellers, they don't know what forms they need. They don't know, they don't know the laws and everything else. They don't know what they can write in a contract, not write in a contract. So the lender ends up doing that stuff, which we're not trained. We're not trained to do. All we do is see a million of them, right? But we don't write
Right.
them. So yeah, I mean, if you don't have a real estate agent, I'll just ask you one thing: who's negotiating for you? Since it's like you might buy 5 houses, the average person over the life of their life, they're going to buy 5 houses, right?
Right.
and a good real estate agent can be doing 5 deals a month. It's like, how on earth do you think you can negotiate a better, and get better advice by just saying, oh, I'm going to save a few percent by just calling somebody and trying to cut some out? When in all reality is they've already got that fee in there for you for the buyer anyways. So
Right.
you can either have representation for you or you can give that away because the money's already been in there, right? The money's already in the house. So the seller agrees to pay the buyer's representation on all across America. So yeah, it's nonsense to try. I would never do that. If my child or anybody was across the country and I wasn't involved, I'd be like, go find a good real estate agent, somebody you like, connect with, and, let them guide you through it. I mean, what else?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really kind of my point you put a real good to use. I'm going to use this again. Thanks to Phil. I'm going to put a pin in it that we have evidence here, and I've seen it more than once too. We have evidence that there's people that could have done well with a little bit of better advice. And again, I'm tippy-toeing around that because I don't know at all the situation, except this seems like a simple answer to me. It just seems that way.
Yeah.
So,
well, we've seen it. We've all seen it. Look at even Wyatt in is that Utah? He said, was that Utah? Wyatt's from. Yeah, he said even listing agents don't want to deal with an unrepresented. I mean, they don't even want the headache for the extra money. I mean, it's just not a good. You're outsmarting yourself when you do that. You really are. I wouldn't want to do it. I mean, I'm in this business and for 20 years plus, and man, I want somebody negotiating for me. I want somebody who's like, Rodney, you're silly. Don't mess this up, or don't go in that low, or don't go in that high. I mean, I'd want some advice from an expert.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate that. And So that was interesting. That took a couple of crazy turns. Wyatt, I'm so glad that you were here. I'm so glad that you joined our group. And Phil and Wendy, I know that you're listening about the auction. I mean, not the. Oh yeah, that was. Wait, I'm confused, aren't I?
No.
Yes, going to do a live stream on auction. We're Wendy and Phil are going to be doing investor stuff. I know they're laughing on their end now. Golly, I need a producer. That's true. Anyway, yes, we're going to have an auction guy up here, and we're going to do it almost real time, really. So, any final thoughts there, Rodney? As I sheepishly back out of this one, thinking auction and investments are all the same. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. You went along with it fine. So just quit telling on yourself so much. Nobody ever knows, I just enjoyed it, man. Good to see you. Glad everybody's safe and happy and back to whatever they're doing after Memorial Day.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, everybody. I hope you had a good holiday. Wyatt, thanks for joining. Phil, Wendy, Ange, talk to you soon. See you next week. Bye-bye.